We're going to look at a problem that many of you seem to be having problems with, and that's the fair division of a TV, a car, a laptop, and an MP3 player. These items are going to be distributed by two people, Maud and Jeff. Neither Maud nor Jeff knows how the other person has valued each of the items. So we're going to take a look at who is going to get what and what part of the distribution is going to be left over and subsequently distributed. So if we take a look at first, who is going to get each item? You're told in the problem that the TV and the car go to Jeff, and clearly that is the case because Jeff values the TV more than Maud. Jeff values the car more than Maud. You're also told in the problem that the laptop and the MP3 player are going to Maud, and that Maud is going to have an additional $500 cash. So we need to find out, again, clearly we know that the $340 is more than the $260, so clearly the MP3 player is going to go to Maud. But because we do not know how much Maud valued the laptop, we only know that Jeff valued the laptop at $1,400, and we are told in the problem that the laptop was given to Maud. We know that Maud's amount had to be higher than $1,400, and it's our job to figure out how much exactly that was. So the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to uncover some of the columns that I have made prior to this video cast. We're going to look at the fair share for both Maud and Jeff for each of the items. Now, if we look at this a little more closely, Maud valued that TV. We're going to do the TV first. Maud valued the TV at $1,800, but she really only deserves half of that amount. The other half should go to Jeff. Jeff valued the TV at $2,600, and again, he only deserves half of that. There are two players, Maud and Jeff, so he should only get half of that if he gets the item. Well, certainly a TV can't be chopped in half and half given to Maud and half given to Jeff, and then it still be functional. So we need to have some way of distributing this TV. So what's going to happen is Jeff is going to get the TV because he valued it more than Maud did. But in reality, he only deserves half of that $2,600 or half of that TV. So he owes Maud something. So we're going to assign Jeff the TV, and we know that half the TV is $1,300. Maud only said the TV in her mind was worth $1,800, so half of what she's expecting is just $900. But there was really an excess of $1,300. So that $900 is going to come out of the $1,300, leaving a total of $400, which when divided by 2 gives us the excess amount in a bank or a kitty, so to speak, that will be divided between the two of them. So 400 divided by 2 gives us 200. So each of Maud and Jeff will get an additional $200. So here's what happens. Jeff gets the TV. $1,300 was paid by Jeff into this bank. $900 of that was given to Maud in cash. The excess of $400 was divided by the two of them, so that they each got an additional $200 in cash. Let's go down to the car, and we'll see the same thing happens there. Jeff thought that the car was worth $620. Maud thought that it was only worth $520. So clearly, Jeff is going to get the car because he valued it more. But he only deserves one half of that. So he only deserves $310 of that car. But since you can't chop the car in half, he's going to get the car, and he's going to pull out of his pocketbook $310 and put it in a bank account, of which Maud is going to get $520 divided by 2, or $260 of that, $310. If you look at the difference between these two values, it's $50, and if you take that difference and divide it by 2, you get $25. So both Maud and Jeff will each get an additional $25. So here's how this plays out. Jeff gets the car, Maud gets $260 in cash from Jeff, and they each get an additional $25 in cash. Now let's jump over the laptop and go to the MP3 because it's the easier one of the two. You can see that Maud valued the MP3 at $340, while Jeff valued it at $260. So clearly, Maud, since she valued it more, gets the MP3 player. But once again, the philosophy is the same. She only deserves half of that MP3 player. And since the MP3 player can't be chopped in half, she is going to keep the MP3 player, but pull out of her pocket and put into a so-called bank account $170 or half of that $340, which will be available to Jeff. Now, since Jeff only valued the MP3 player at $260, in his mind, he's thinking, well, half of his share would be $130. So his share of $130 is going to be taken out of that $130, and the excess would be $40, which when divided by 2 would give us $20. So how this plays out is that Maud gets the MP3 player, Jeff gets $130 cash, and they each get $20 in cash in excess. Now let's go to the more difficult one. So we have the laptop, and we know that according to the problem, Maud is going to get that laptop, so we know she valued it more than Jeff. So she deserves only half of that laptop. Well, again, you can't divide the laptop in 2, but you can take its worth and divide it by 2. So her fair share of that laptop is actually X divided by 2. While Jeff valued the laptop at $1,400, and his half, or his fair share, is $1,400 divided by 2, or $700. When we do the same process that we did before, we take Maud's fair share and subtract from it Jeff's fair share, and then divide by 2, we get X over 4 minus $350. So this is the amount that would go to both Jeff and Maud as the excess value. All right, now I'm going to unhide some of these other columns here, and let's look at the distribution. Now you'll notice that I've grayed out Jeff's distribution because we're not really concerned with his, because the problem tells us that Maud gets the laptop, Maud gets the MP3, and she gets $500 additional cash. And that's what we're going to use then. Jeff really doesn't enter into the picture, but that's what we're going to use to be able to tell how much she's going to value that laptop. So let's first look at the car. Let's first look at the TV. We said that Jeff got the TV. Maud got $900, which was her fair share of what she felt that TV was worth. So she got the $900, but she also got the $200 difference. $400 split 2 ways, which was the excess. Let's look at the car. Maud did not get the car, Jeff did. So we have Maud is getting half of what she felt the car was worth, which is $260. But she's also getting that $25 excess that they both get. We are told that she got the MP3 player, but she only deserved half of that MP3 player. So what happened here? Well, we're looking down at the MP3 player. So she only got half of the MP3 player, which meant that she owed into this bank account $170. So we're going to subtract off $170 from her MP3 player. And then we're going to add to her the $20 difference that each of the players, Maud and Jeff, received after that. So there's that amount. We also know that she got the laptop. We know that she only deserved X over 2 of that laptop. So we're going to subtract the X over 2 from the laptop amount. And we also know that X over 4 minus 350 is her half of the difference between the two fair distributions. So we're going to add that on because that's the excess that each of them gets. So if we add all of the values together, we get 900 plus 200 plus 260 plus 25. We subtract 170, add 200, and subtract 350, we get 885. If we add the minus x over 2 plus the x over 4, we get minus x over 4. So the sum total of all of the values here are going to give us our equation, 885 minus x over 4, and that has to equal the $500 that she gets in cash. If we subtract 500 from both sides and move the x over 4 to the right of that equation, we get 385 equals x over 4. If we multiply the 385 by 4 to get rid of the denominator over on the right-hand side, we get $1,540 equals x. So that means that Maud valued that laptop at $1,540. Clearly, that's larger than the $1,400, and that is why Maud was awarded the laptop.